Welcome to the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. This is the Central Unintelligence Podcast. That's right. Haven't heard this one in a hot minute. But yeah, buddy, we're here and we mean business. My name's Josh. I'm here today with Frank.
Yep.
And this is another fine episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. As I'm sure you just heard, the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. And we truly stand by that we are idiots that just know a little bit about some things and maybe even don't know about a lot of things. But we're very much amateur historiologists, I guess, as you could call it. Don't shake your head. That was one of the funniest things I've ever said. And I legitimately thought historiologist was the fucking word. All right.
I truly believe that.
Yeah, you should, as you should.
You dumb motherfucker.
Anyways, today, I know it's a few days, probably a week late. Well, a little more than a week late, but I really wanted to do an episode that was dedicated to the Normandy invasion or parts of World War II in general, because obviously we just had on June 6th, 2024, the 80th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, or the Operation Overlord is what the code name was for the D-Day Normandy invasion. And, basically involved 1,200 aircraft in an airborne assault. It had over 5,000 vessels involved in this and sent over 160,000 men across the English Channel. And it paved the way to have essentially more than 2 million Allied troops in France by the end of August of 1944. So June, July, August. So in 3 months' time, in 3 months' time, 160 over 100 or damn near 160,000 men paved the way for over 2 million to be in France, and paved the way for the Allies, right?
All thanks to Tom Hanks.
Yep. Praises be to our Lord and Savior, Tom Hanks. And don't forget about the other Tom in that movie, Tom Sizemore. Played the sergeant. What?
I literally forgot he was in the movie.
Wow. That's unbearable.
Oh, yeah, but I bet you forgot who other people in that movie were.
Oh, like you mean Vin Diesel, perhaps?
No.
Who else? Oh, right. Fucking Matt. What's his name? Private Ryan. God damn it. What's his name? Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Who else? I'm drawing a blank. Who else could?
Nathan Fillion.
Oh, that's right. He was in that movie.
He was the first Private Ryan.
God damn, that's true. He was the original Private Ryan. You Private Ryan? No. I am.
Yeah. And then your brother's dead. But he's only 4 years old.
He's only 4 years old. And he's like, wait a minute. Are you Private Ryan from so-and-so? No, I'm from fucking wherever. And he's like, God damn it. Wrong Private Ryan.
You go, God damn it. He just walks away. Wait, is my brother okay?
He just ignores him.
Yeah.
The Normandy invasion or Operation Overlord has been the subject, I think, in media has been covered the most by video games, by movies, by television shows. I mean, it has been, there's a wealth of information.
Why is it called Normandy Beach?
Well, because it's the name of Normandy's the town that's like closest to it. So they called it the Normandy. It's the beach of Normandy.
Yeah.
And so one of the cool things about the lead up in the invasion is obviously World War II was like really when intelligence and I don't know what the word is for it, but
Espionage?
espionage. There you go. That is the word. The espionage services became a thing. Now we had the OSS was like the predecessor to kind of like the CIA.
One? That was the one that was in there first.
Yeah.
It wasn't MI6 yet.
No, it wasn't MI6. It was some other something.
I remember I was watching a phallic video about the that lady that was like considered to be one of the world's greatest spies.
Yeah.
This is before the Allies, before the US joined the war effort.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, let me go out there and use my skills. Like, nah, we're not going to enter the war. Cool. I'm going to go leave and go join Britain and join their secret service or whatever.
Whatever their fucking intelligence agency is.
So she does that, fucking kills it. They find out about her. She escapes. They tell her, sorry, we can't put you back in there. They know who you are now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The U.S. just joined the war effort, so I'm going to go join their spy agency. And then they send her back into the same spot, and she still fucking kills it.
Yeah. And one of the cool things about like doing that reconnaissance is they kind of started with aerial reconnaissance first, right? I mean, they literally took from April until like June, right up until the invasion. They took 3,200 photos of that beach line to fucking know every square inch of it.
You know what became the best fucking reconnaissance plane?
What's that?
The Mosquito.
The Mosquito, which was the
wooden plane.
The wooden plane, yeah, because you couldn't be detected on radar.
Not only that, because the way McCavan made, I can't say his name right. The way he made the plane, it was one of the first planes that could also be like reconfigured.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bomber, and like everyone else was like, "Give me the most armor because this shit's slow and it's gonna get shot the hell up."
Yeah.
Give me the most guns because it needs to be able to defend itself.
Right.
So he's like, nah, let's make it out of wood and give it the two strongest engines known to mankind. Make it the fastest fucking plane that's in the Allied forces. Side benefit, wood can't be picked up on radar.
Yeah.
And we'll still give it a shit ton of guns, but it's only facing forward. So, it had 8 50 cal guns just on the nose and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But the way it was so cool about it was that they discovered, because it could carry a lot more bombs because there wasn't extra people, there wasn't extra guns. All that weight was removed.
Yeah.
So let's just say I think it was 20,000 pounds of bombs. It was what it could carry.
Right.
And one guy's like, you know what? Instead of filling it with bombs, let's fill it with extra tanks. And then, you know what they were using to fucking do reconnaissance before that?
Huh.
The Spitfire.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't remember the year it came into service. I can't remember if it was before or after D-Day. Because what stops the war effort better than anything else?
What? Logistics? Lack of logistics? What?
Bureaucracy.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Because McCavan, whatever his name was, wasn't in the pockets, wasn't paying politicians and shit. So every time he put up his plane up for the military contracts, no. And yeah, that I was watching one of those Dogfight 360 shows, and it was one with the Mosquito, which was a British plane, but it was flying under the Canadian flag, so it's owned by the Canadians with an American pilot.
Damn.
I don't know. I just thought that was weird.
That is pretty interesting.
But yeah, like that thing, you'll hear about it on the plane episode. But
oh yeah,
I just thought it was something brought up right now.
Yeah.
But,
so one of the cool things that they did, about the lead up to the invasion, right, was the deception. This was like the first.
Yeah, we tricked them into thinking that we were going to land on. Is it Norway or? Yeah.
So there were two options.
Yeah.
We had them believing that the attack was going to possibly come and we were going to invade into Norway. Mm-hmm. And then we were going to, it was called, I just had it. It was Operation Bodyguard. It was the thing to protect and deceive the Germans into thinking where we were going to land, because Hitler had decided that in 1944, he was going to fortify the entire Atlantic coast that shared, that of all the territory that they had, because they were like, fuck, if they're going to invade us, fuck it, we might as well just fortify it. So that's why you had Normandy was just rife with anti-tank fucking those what are they, obstacles or whatever. Mm-hmm. They had all kinds of shit to do it. There were 50 divisions of German troops in France alone, right? That's a shit ton of fucking dudes.
But when you say German, you have to...
Yeah.
Because of all the the conscripts.
True, but just in terms of actual manpower, that's a lot of fucking guys. So you've got that going up against the 160,000 guys that are going to take this one fucking area of beach. And they basically said, okay, we need to give them the best chance of survival, because in a beachhead invasion is essentially one of the hardest things to do in a military operation back then, because you have
now that whole operation has been eliminated now, right?
Yeah, there's no need for it, because you can just drop guys through the air. You can,
or better yet, we need an airstrip. Cool. Let's just let's make over there not exist anymore, and that'll be our new.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's eliminated now. You don't got to worry about it nowadays. But establishing a beachhead is back then during
what were those boats called?
Oh, the landing craft.
The worst design things ever to be used.
Oh, really? It was. But I mean, shit. It got 160,000 dudes on that fucking beach.
But what was,
and
again, it was another what's his name? It was the videos. He was talking about this guy who made all these amazing inventions for tanks, and he made something that was fucking genius for the fucking landing craft using tanks.
Oh, okay.
It allowed tanks to float.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
And unfortunately, bureaucracy says, nah, it's fucking stupid. This is stupid. Eisenhower, are you fucking stupid? This is the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
Give me 1 billion of them. Cool.
Yeah.
Shit, they're not going to make it for D-Day.
Right, yeah.
It's like, I'm like, fuck, can you imagine what it would have been like if they could have brought the Shermans? Everybody just rode in the Shermans?
Yeah, that's true. And you know, what's funny is, like, people always talk shit about the Shermans or whatever. Yes, sure. Maybe their gun was a little underpowered. Maybe their armor was a little bit thinner than the quote unquote
the Sherman
Panzer
1A, maybe, but the 2MA.
Yeah, because we learned.
Yeah.
That's how quickly we adapted.
People don't understand that, because everyone's blinded by what the American military system is right now.
Yeah.
What we are right now is thanks to what we became during World War II.
Oh, yeah.
What we were between World War I and World War II, I think, what did he say? It was
shit.
Like, we had an army of 30,000 people.
You could even say World War I, we weren't even really like that great. It was World War II. What?
Trench sweepers.
Yeah, the trench gun. Well, yeah, sure. We fucked everybody up with that. We didn't need enough guys. But what I'm saying is, like, our military industrial complex didn't exist until Hitler invaded in 1938 or 39 when he invaded
Poland. The entire country became the military complex.
Everything turned into fucking making munitions, making tanks, making planes, making.
God, dude, if that happens again.
Oh, just imagine now. Shit. You almost don't even need people to do that. You can just have robots do it at this point. I mean,
but I'm just saying, can you imagine if once again every factory manufacturing system here in the United States
was turned into a military producing military goods? That's it. It's over. Everybody's fucked. Like, you would have to do a Fallout scenario where you nuke the shit out of us to stop that from happening. That's the only way it would stop. It wouldn't go through, right? In my opinion, at least, is if you just nuke the shit out of us. That's the only way it wouldn't happen.
But again, going back to what we were before then, like, we had a standing army of, like, I'm not saying it's the actual number, but to show how bad it was like 30,000 people.
Yeah.
What are we now like at?
We're in the couple of millions, I think, for our military strength, our current. Let me just Google it just to make sure.
Combat numbers. Well,
we'll just do the whole military
because
all together.
The combat can't allow. You need logistics, so yeah.
Correct. As of September 2023, the U.S. military has a total of strength of 2.86 million troops, including nearly 1.29 million active duty personnel. So currently active, we have about 1.3 million people active. In terms of in terms of actual combat troops,
well, it doesn't matter.
I'm just curious to know what that is. But yeah, go ahead. Combat troops. It says that's not this fucking stupid AI thing doesn't tell you the right information.
What is your AI saying?
This AI is saying on the Google, it's the Google AI. It's answering the question that I asked earlier, but it's saying about active duty troops overseas is what it's giving me. It's not giving me actual combat arms. Troops that are in the combat arms field. It doesn't tell me what that is. Whatever. Maybe they don't want to know. Anyways, it says only about 10% of U.S. Army personnel have combat-related MOSs: infantry, artillery, armor, and combat engineers. So if you figure that across the board, 10%. I mean,
according to this, it's 400,000 in the Army, 300,000 in the Navy, 318,000 in the Air Force, and the rest of that 1.3 million is the Marine Corps.
So anyway,
but going back to the whole, So, what do you call it? At one point, we realized, hey, we don't want to enter this European war, is what they were calling it back then.
Yeah,
we're not going to enter this. We're just going to sell them supplies. Cool, but just in case, initiate the draft.
Right, yeah.
That's what we don't know. The draft initiated before we ever entered World War II. And we started building our military again from the ground up. We had to rebuild our military. And one of the things was on the Fat Electrician video was talking about the Desmond Dawes' unit. I forgot what they're called. They were called the Old Bastards. Because they were troops that were like in their 30s and shit.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of for a new battalion. Fuck, even what's his name? Churchill came over to visit before we entered the war or whatever.
Yeah.
He came over to visit to see what the status of our troops.
Right.
And he said that the look of those men gave me great hope and fear. Gave me great hope knowing that our enemies have something to fear.
Right.
I'm saying, like, we had to rebuild our entire military system to prepare for the war.
Yeah.
And what we did during that time to build up for D-Day created the fucking juggernaut that we are today.
True.
It took those bodies to lay the foundation for what we are today.
Yeah, true. Because they took a lot of casualties at Normandy. I mean, that, like, Saving Private Ryan, I don't think any film could ever do anything justice, right?
But according to a lot of World War II vets, they said that was the closest anyone's got.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably as close as it's going to get. And there's a new game coming out that's called, I think it's called D-Day or Normandy. That's like, I just saw a trailer for it, and it looks fucking great. And yes, it's been many years since we've had a World War II themed, video game come out in the forefront, I guess.
Well, Call of Duty, remember?
Well, Call of Duty World War II was like the last one.
No, Call of Duty Vanguard.
That was World War I.
That was World War II.
Oh, that was Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield 1 was World War I.
Yeah.
But remember, Vanguard, people got pissed off because they had scopes, they had fucking red dot sights.
Yeah, right, shit, which they didn't fucking have back then. So, like, I think Call of Duty World War II was the last true World War II fucking game we had.
There's also another game, Nico Ortiz was talking about it. It's called Fallujah.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard of that.
It's one, because it was him and some other buddy of his. I don't know why I can't talk today. A couple of his buddies from the army, too. And it was meant to be the most realistic simulation of an actual warfare.
Yeah.
And you can play the game by yourself, but the game punishes you.
Oh, okay.
You have to be squad. You have to do things right. If you fuck up, you fuck everybody up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not you die. Everybody dies.
Oh, okay.
And they're saying it's the most... They actually had to put a warning on it for PTSD warnings for veterans.
Oh, crazy.
People say
how realistic it is.
Yeah.
So back to the D-Day thing real quick. So we had this huge deception go on where basically we built entire facades.
Yeah, fucking balloon tanks and shit.
Fake fucking tanks, fake fucking everything. Just to make them think.
It wouldn't fly today, but that's how bad cameras were back then.
Yeah, you couldn't tell.
It had to look like a tank.
It just had to kind of look like it, and then you're good.
If they were close enough to make it out that it was a balloon, it's getting shot down.
Yeah, of course. It's not coming back. So it was that where the Germans were convinced we were gonna invade from a couple different spots. Now, granted, that doesn't necessarily say that Normandy wasn't heavily fortified, because it was.
It was already beforehand.
It was right. It was already heavily fortified.
It just wasn't reinforced.
Correct, which is what helped us when we, because it's part of.
Because otherwise, we would have to come through. We would have to enter Europe through Africa.
Right, exactly, and so
that would have taken forever.
Right, which we also did fight. We were fighting in Africa.
Yeah.
We did have an Africa. There was the Africa front. There was, a couple.
Oh my god, it was your fucking ringtone for fucking 80 years
With
Pan,
General Patton. Yeah. What? Fuck. That's a great fucking movie.
I'm not saying it isn't, but fuck, did that fucking ringtone get old?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Fast,
yeah. Anyways, so with the invasion itself, I mean, we had 5 beaches set up. We had Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword, right? Those were the 5 beaches that were set up.
Is it so that everyone always says that Omaha was the one that had it the worst, right?
Yeah, I think Omaha was the actual worst.
And that was ours too, the U.S.
Yeah, that was one that was solely us.
It was Omaha and Utah was ours.
Yeah.
Juneau was the Canadians, if I think.
There's a 6th one that doesn't get a lot of play, and that was Point du Hoc.
Mm-hmm.
And Point du Hoc was essentially, there was 200 guys that they got of the 2nd Ranger Battalion, and they said, hey, we need you guys to scale this 100-foot cliff with these ladders, and there's these mounted gun batteries here. We need you guys to kill these, and we need you to go ahead and like take it out. So they did it, and D-Day was obviously successful. It was not only the naval, or the beachhead incursion and the land invasion, but there was also an air component to that as well.
Yeah, because the 101st entered beforehand.
101st and 82nd.
82nd
entered additionally as this was going on. They inserted
they're the what are they called? The
101st is the Screaming
National
Eagles.
Airborne.
What?
The National Airborne, something like that, with the AA sign on them. Fuck, what are they called?
Well, the 82nd. I don't remember what the 82nd is, but the 101st is the Screaming Eagles, I think.
No, because they're both part of something. Oh, that's
Well, just the Airborne, I guess.
Yeah, the Airborne. Yeah. Was it the running joke for them is because they have that patch when they go through it says AA. And the running joke is that it stands for Alcohol Anonymous. Because you're jumping out of planes, man.
That's true. So they go through and we take all the beachheads. The airborne units, they're to secure the interior part, or an interior further into the.
We're supposed to hit like strategic bridges, stuff like that.
Right. They didn't necessarily hit all of them, but they got a good amount of them.
Again, this is to talk about the whole this entering Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ship that you fly in is called the Normandy.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a reference to Normandy Beach.
Right.
So I just found out there was a special forces within a special forces. And they were called Pathfinders.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's also in Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of being inspectors, they were called Pathfinders.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so there's a photo that's a pretty famous photo that's taken from the inside of one of the landing craft, and it shows guys like exiting or whatever. And it's literally titled Into the Jaws of Death. Mm-hmm. And that's...
What was it? It was 90%. Was it like 90% of the crew in those died every time?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I mean, I get the reason, like... But that forward opening door is just the dumbest thing ever. But at the same time, what are you going to do? Open it from the sides or the back?
Yeah, true. There's really no way to, like, say that. Omaha Beach, you had, like I said, Gold. I think they were done alphabetically by north to south, like the way that they named them. And so you had basically Gold Beach, which was the first one geographically, I guess, to the north.
The Brits or the French? No, the French. The Brits or the
that was
Canadians.
The primary responsibility of the British Army. Yeah. was gold. All right, that was their.
And Juno was it the Canadians?
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute because I'm gonna go through them like one by one or whatever, I guess. But like, Gold Beach had basically one infantry division. They had a bunch of. It was basically, like I said, British people or British soldiers, and they broke it down in a couple different sectors, and essentially they wound up with essentially 1,100 casualties, 350 dead out of that initial invasion. The Germans, they were thinking, they didn't know, but at least we captured at least 1,000 German guys on Gold Beach, or the British did. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So then Juno would be next. Juno Beach was the next one on the list. In terms of casualties, this one was primarily the Canadian Army. Yeah. That was the main. The Juno Beach was the Canadian military. That was their primary.
So that's where all the war crimes happened.
Basically, yeah. They lost 900. They had 961 casualties, 340 dead. The Germans were unknown, likely heavy, is what it says, right?
That means they didn't want to report it. What happened there?
Yeah, exactly. LMNO. So then we get to
when the stories stop being said. That's when the war crimes happen.
Yeah, exactly. So then we get to Omaha, which was arguably the
bloodiest one.
One of the bloodiest ones, and I guess we'll see for sure and prove it. But essentially, the casualties involved that the Americans, this is primarily our responsibility in America, 2,000 to 5,000 casualties. Jeez. And the Germans only lost 1,200. So we went in with 43,000 infantrymen into this fucking area, and the Germans had 7,800 infantry. They had 8 artillery bunkers, 35 pillboxes, which are the machine gun nests in concrete fucking encased, things. They had four artillery, 6 mortar pits, 18 anti-tank guns, 45 rocket launcher sites, 85 machine gun sites, man, just to mow down the guys coming on the beach, man. And that's the one thing. There was no cover. The only cover that they had was essentially the anti-tank, structures that were made out of steel that they had put. That's all the cover that they had at the beginning of the beach.
If I remember correctly, that guy I was telling you about that made all the tank modifications, he had made something to break through those too. Like as a modification for the tanks?
Yeah. Well, they had those guys with the Bangalores is what they call them. And they were these little sticks of dynamite. They were these long tubes with like dynamite in them. And that's what they were supposed to use to blow the things so they could get them tanks cleared so the tanks could come in. And the tanks were supposed to like fuck up the pillboxes and shit. And they did that a little bit, but then they were like, wait a minute. We need this for cover. So fuck it. Let's get the guys up the beachhead with the Bangalores and let's fucking start blowing up the pillboxes or start blowing up, toss them in there. And so that's what they were kind of using them for. And then after that, we had Sword Beach, which was, again, another British Army.
It sounds like something they would name it.
Yeah. They took 683 casualties. However, the Germans lost between 40 and 54 tanks in this invasion portion.
Oh God, that must have been devastating.
And they also lost 6 strategic bombers as well.
How?
Apparently they either got shot down or the bombers were probably trying to come in and bomb the ships or whatever, and they shot them down with anti-tank weapon or anti-aircraft. And then we get to Utah, which was again another, this was a combination of U.S., British, and Dutch forces for the most part. Primarily us though. This one, fewer casualties, 197.
Every license is a tragedy,
right? Still a tragedy, but the airborne units that were lost in this one were about 2,500.
Jeez.
German casualties and losses are unknown, so a lot. So Omaha was the worst, and Omaha is the beach that you're generally. That's where Saving Private Ryan takes place, on Omaha Beach. The movie D-Day, it's black and white from like the 50s or whatever. That movie takes place on Omaha. There's all the World War II Normandy invasion stuff is generally taking place on Omaha because that, as we said, was the bloodiest fucking beachhead of them all. They said the ocean was red for fucking weeks after that because of all the casualties that were taken. Mm-hmm. And so, and that was obviously the most heavily defended section of the beachhead that we were going to try to take. So we get through that. Everybody's, okay, shit, we made it, right? We made it. And that, again, opened the door for over 2 million fucking soldiers over the next just 3 months to come in and enter into the European theater, which there had been none up until that point. Up until the invasion of Normandy, there were no official European force or allied forces in Europe. Yes, you had the French resistance. Every country had some sort of resistance, that were fighting, but there were no major military presence by any allied force. Mm-hmm. And D-Day basically paved the way for that. And if D-Day wasn't successful, World War II would have turned out likely different up until we got the nukes, right?
Only difference is we would have dropped 3.
Right. We would have ended up dropping one in Berlin or somewhere in Germany, right? That would have been the difference. But luckily, also, the Germans were working on nuclear weapons or atomic weapons as well.
Thankfully the Brits were able to stop it.
Well, I think part of the reason is because we were invading Europe.
That's the thing. The Brits were able to destroy their heavy water facility.
Right. And also capture some scientists and
in Operation Paperclip.
Right. And that was more after World War II. But yeah, that we brought people over from that. Why not? Fuck it.
You ever see those videos about what if a movie was made in 2007?
Okay, I haven't seen those, but that's a good one.
Yeah. It's just like the movie's ending. Okay. But it's Linkin Park's What I've Done.
Oh yeah, okay, I've seen that. Yeah.
Did you see the one for Oppenheimer?
No, I didn't see that.
So it's basically it's the end of the movie where he's talking with Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
He goes, Albert, did you remember what I told you when I first gave you the calculations?
Uh-huh.
He goes, yeah. I told you that I thought we created something that would create a chain reaction and end the world. He goes, yeah, I remember that. Why do you mention that? And it starts playing the song.
Yeah. And
it just shows him, and he's like, the whole, I have become death, reaper of worlds, or destroyer of worlds. And then you see the bombs exploding, like different nuclear bombs. You see all the silos with the missiles in them and stuff. And then the song's about to, it's about to hit the crescendo. He's like, I believe we did. And it goes, whoa. Oppenheimer, yeah. What I've done.
That's pretty fucking good. So, yeah, I think that the landscape of World War II changes drastically.
If D-Day wasn't
successful. The Germans might have been able to make the atomic bomb before we did if D-Day wasn't successful. Mm-hmm. Because remember, we didn't drop the atomic bomb until 1945.
Yeah, but there was that other bomb that we were working on that would have been just as devastating.
Which one was that?
The bat bomb.
Oh, yeah, with the bats? Yeah, maybe.
Well, because their test showed that the bat bomb was 1,000 times more successful than the regular firebomb. Uh-huh. So one bat bomb was 1,000 times more effective than the firebombing run. Uh-huh. And to this day, the most devastating bombing to ever happen is the firebombs of Japan. Uh-huh. Way more people died in the firebombings than they did for both nukes combined. Uh-huh. So if just regular firebombs killed more people than any other fucking bombing in the world, and if that bomb was 1,000 times more effective than the regular bombs, it would have been 100 times more devastating than nukes.
Yeah, but can bats survive winter in Europe?
If they got the right ones, yeah. They specifically chose the breed that would work best in Japan for this bomb.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So that was for Japan, but
they chose one specifically for Japan.
Yeah.
This bomb probably wouldn't have been as effective in Germany, but it would have still done some damage. The reason it works in Japan is because Japan was mostly made out of paper and wood.
Yeah, right.
But still, a bunch of fucking little guys. Think about it. Bats are so good in getting into spaces.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of the bomb was for it to open right at sunset. It was happening. So they would have to go into places to roost.
Yeah.
And then 10 seconds later, PETA cries.
Yeah, it's dark. So
I'm saying PETA cries because all the bats blow up.
Oh, yeah. True.
And as I was saying, like, it's funny to think that the most devastating bomb we have ever made was made by Marines.
Well, it wasn't actually used, though, right? They didn't actually use it, did they?
Accidentally on ourselves.
Well, yeah, but not like, in real.
The Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened before we can actually deploy it.
Yeah.
So
theoretically, we don't really know. In theory, it was 1,000 times more, but we don't know for a fact that it would have been 1,000 times more effective. Could have been. And honestly, at that point, we were already getting ready to drop the nukes anyway. But again, if D-Day wouldn't have been successful.
The nukes were a more show of power than the VATS would have been.
Right. But if Germany had the nukes before we did.
It wasn't the deaths of the people that caused Japan to surrender.
Right. It was the sheer
scale of what
devastation of what we could do with just one bombing run.
Yeah.
And if you look at, with one plane.
What type? I was about to ask you, what type of plane was the Enola Gay?
I think it was a B-25 or...
Well, our bomber at the times was the C-17 and the B-17 and the B-29.
Enola Gay. Hold on, let me just Google it so we can have an accurate. The Enola Gay. Yeah, it was a B-29.
B-20, so it's a Strata Fortress.
Yeah, a Super Fortress.
Yeah.
B-29.
Strata Fortress is the B-52.
Yeah, that's the buff, which didn't technically exist at this time.
It was the one that replaced that plane, the B-29.
Yeah. Man, it was only in service for fucking like a year. 18 May 1945 to 24 July 1946. That was it.
Why did we not need it, or did the 17 just stayed in business?
Oh no, wait, never mind. I'm sorry. That's the Enola Gay itself. Man, the Enola Gay had one job.
It fucking did it.
And it did its fucking
twice.
It did its fucking job. The B-29 Super Shadow.
I think if a plane does that, like the next plane to drop a nuke has to be retired like right away.
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, it did get it. It only was made. God, they retired it in 1960, so it was still in use until 1960. So it was originally made on 8 May of 1944, and then literally a year later, it dropped. Like a year later, it dropped nukes. That's fucking crazy.
It dropped the war enders.
Yeah, true.
And it set the president of day. Don't fuck with us.
Yeah. Don't fuck around and you'll find out.
Just don't touch our boats. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's true.
It's super simple. Don't touch our boats.
True story. But anyways,
speaking of fucking warships.
Yeah.
What was that thing we were trying to talk about earlier?
Oh yeah. What was the name of that? The USS Texas?
Yeah.
Which was cool during the invasion of Normandy. Because a lot of the naval vessels, yeah, some of them were carrying troop to land on the beach, but there were others that were specifically tasked with bombardment with a cannon or what is it called? God damn it, there's a name for it.
Turrets?
No, I forget what it is, but it's like basically providing a bombardment, a naval bombardment of the beachhead and then the area behind it.
Using a special name for that?
Yeah, there's like a name for it. I forget what it is. But they were tasked.
Time?
What?
A good time?
Yeah, it's definitely a good time. But the USS Texas was one of the many heavy gun ships that was.
It is a ship that predates fucking World War I.
Oh yeah, exactly, which is crazy. So their task was to start attacking, to give cover essentially for the troops that were landing, to blow the fuck out of anything that exists and potentially make it easier for these guys that would land. So they essentially ended up doing this thing where they weren't effective firing enough because
the lines
moved so quickly and they couldn't get close enough because they were literally basically at the point where if they would have gone inland or in towards the coast any further, they would have hit a berm. They would have, they would have beached themselves.
Yeah.
So basically they were like, well, fuck, how can we do this? Well, we're going to fucking
fill up one of our ballast tanks.
fill up one side of our ballast tanks so that the ship essentially is leaned at an angle.
I think it was a 45-degree angle, they said.
Yeah, so then if you lean the ship at a 45-degree angle and then you turn the guns at their highest point, you can hit like way further.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. They did it, and through math and fucking the wonder of science, they ended up...
And good old American ingenuity.
Yeah, true. They ended up being able to effectively fire essentially till they just ran out of fucking ammo, and they were like, fuck it, all right, well, we're done. We did what we could. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for playing.
And it's also one of the only ships to fight in every theater of war in World War II.
Yeah, that's true. It did fight everywhere. It fought in Europe. It fought in the Pacific. It fought in fucking all of them, which is crazy to think about. Like
that's why it's a museum ship now.
That's true.
I mean, that still pisses me off, man. Why didn't the Enterprise become a museum ship?
Oh, I don't know.
It won us World War II, man.
Yeah.
It was our flagship.
It won us the Pacific.
Yeah, it was our flagship. It was the flagship of the Navy.
Yeah.
It led the thing. It led the fucking. I don't think it participated, but it led the fleet that fucking shaped the Yamato. The world's greatest fucking coral reef.
Well, now. Back then it was the
benchmark.
The benchmark, yeah.
It's still to this day the biggest. I think the biggest ship by tonnage.
That's interesting. Let me look that up. Largest military ship by tonnage. Let's see. What is the largest? No, it's U.S. military. So the USS New York.
That was our last battleship, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, in terms of tonnage, what is the largest ship? I should probably say ever made. Oh, I put that wrong. In tonnage. So the Gerald R. Ford it's 100,000 long tons is what it's called, which is 100,000 tons fully loaded.
And we're about to replace it.
Yeah, that's the largest military ship
I guess that's the last one. That's also going to be the last one that's named after presidents.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess now they're switching over to war heroes.
Is that because of Trump?
Yep.
They don't want to name one after Trump? They don't want to
give him one. So that's why I guess the Obama got canceled.
Oh, that sucks. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Largest navies in the world 2024. Yeah, the United States just to go on a slight tangent. Yeah. Our tonnage in 2024 is 3.4 million.
And China's the next biggest one.
The number two
is China, right?
No, it's Russia at 845,000.
They're not even at a million.
China has 700,000. The fourth is Japan, which is our friend. Yeah. I think our Coast Guard is actually the seventh largest tonnage in Navy.
Well, the largest active fleet is the U.S. military.
Yeah.
The second, and then the largest fleet in general is also the U.S.
Right.
The second largest fleet is the U.S. museum ships.
That's true. That's true. Because our ships were able to be retired and serve as museums as opposed to being.
But they're required to still be battle ready.
Yeah.
As we learned from the movie Battleship.
Yeah, that's true. Battleship. What a great film. Anyways,
they're considered to be the heaviest and most powerfully armored battleship ever constructed, displacing nearly 72,000 tonnies or 71,000 long tons.
Uh-huh.
At full load,
is that the Yamamoto?
Yeah, with 9. It was armed with 9 46 centimeter or 18.1 inches Type 94 main guns, which were the largest guns ever mounted on a warship.
Jesus. How many did it have?
How many guns?
Yeah.
9 46 centimeters.
9 46 centimeter guns.
Which is 18.1 inches.
Okay, so damn, that's bigger than our biggest shit that we had in World War II, which was 9 16-inch naval guns.
These were just the main guns. It also had secondary turrets.
Yeah, they had those 50 cal guns. That's crazy.
It was 862 feet long.
God damn. That's insane. Just the crazy shit that we've come up with over the years. You know,
this is Japanese. So yeah, I had 3 triple 46 centimeter Kians. So those were the 9. So 3 triple, so 3, 6, 9.
Yeah.
4 triple 15.5 centimeters, which is 6.1 inch. 6 5-inch DP guns. 8 triple 1-inch AA guns.
God damn.
2 twin 5.52 inch AA machine guns.
Jesus.
3 oh, this is the same thing again. Yeah. The armor was also thicker than ours too. 16.1 inches, and I think the Iowa had 12 feet. I mean, 12 inches.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Whatever. We still sank the fuck out of it.
Yeah, we still have a bunch of museum ships that are Iowa class, and they have none.
I don't think I'm not 100% sure. Did they ever? Was an Iowa class ever sunk?
I mean, I'm sure. Let me just Google it. Iowa class battleships. Let's do secondary.
There's secondary.
Anti-tank batteries, missiles. This is just the armaments. Can we just see the Iowa class battleship itself? Iowa class. That's armaments. Iowa class. Iowa class battleship. Let's see. Builders, operated, cost, planned was 6, completed was 4, canceled 2. Okay, so check this out. They completed 4 of them, and they retired 4 of them. They also preserved 4 of them. So every single one is a museum, essentially.
So an Iowa class ship was never sunk.
Never sunk.
But yeah, the Yamato and the Bismarck were.
Which is fucking insane if you think about it. Man, that is crazy.
Back to my original point. Why did the Enterprise not get that fucking glory of being a museum ship? It was literally our flagship during World War II.
USS Enterprise. Let's see.
Well, that variation of it.
Oh, there's
been a bunch of ships that's had that name.
USS Enterprise. This was the original one. It was ordered in 1933. It was completed in 1930 or launched in 1936. It was commissioned in 1938. It was decommissioned in 1947, and it was given, it's had 20 battle stars, Presidential Unit Citation, Navy Units Commendation. Let's see. Where was its fate?
It was decommissioned and scrapped for parts.
Returned to duty, Battle of the Philippine Sea. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. The end of the Enterprise with the commissioning of over 24 larger and more advanced maybe that's why, because they built larger and more advanced aircraft carriers by 1945. It was surplus. And then it says she got deactivated and was decommissioned in 1946, handed over to the state of New York as a permanent memorial, but it was suspended in 1949. Many attempts were made at preserving the ship as a museum or a memorial, but fundraising efforts failed to raise enough money to buy the vessel from the Navy, and the Enterprise was sold on 1 July 1958 to the Lipset Corporation of New York City for scrapping at Kearny, New Jersey.
Yep.
It says a promise was made to save distinctive tripod masts for inclusion at the Naval Academy's new football stadium, but they never fulfilled it. Instead, they placed a memorial plaque there, which is called Enterprise Tower. Scrapping was completed as of May of 1960. Damn. In 1984, a permanent Enterprise exhibit was dedicated at the Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola, Florida, to house artifacts, photos, and other items of historical interest.
In other words, the Navy knew they fucked up.
Basically, yeah. It says surviving Enterprise artifacts include the ship's bell, which is at the U.S. Naval Academy, where it is rung only after midshipman victories over West Point, which is kind of funny. And the 16-foot, 1-ton nameplate from the ship's stern, which sits near a Little League park in Rivervale, New Jersey. Her commissioning plaque and one of her anchors are on display at the Washington Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. That's pretty cool. That sucks, though, that it just got fucking tossed.
But the fact that the Navy did all that tells her the Navy knew they fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, man, you know what's funny? Right. The guy who made Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah.
He named it in honor of the USS Enterprise because he was particularly fascinated by the war record and always considered it a heroic ship. That's pretty interesting.
Like I said, it was our flagship.
True.
The Japanese thought they sank it 3 times, that they called it the ghost ship.
Oh, man. You know what's crazy? The guy who was the founder of Enterprise Rent-A-Car served on the Enterprise as a fighter pilot during the war and renamed his company in 1969 after the ship. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Still fuck him, though.
Yeah, fuck him. But still, like, that was cool. That is pretty fucking cool.
I mean, every car we rented when we went to our trips was up through Enterprise, right?
Actually, yeah, everything was through Enterprise. I have to say, they're pricey. But they gave us decent cars. I mean, we had to fucking fight for them sometimes, but...
What about that time that you had to return the car 5 times?
Oh, yeah, but that's how we got that fucking Platinum Explorer or whatever.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was nice. That worked out swimmingly because, man, that would have sucked driving to Texas in a fucking Nissan Rogue. I would have fucking killed myself. There's no way. Mm-hmm. But...
And our buddy ran over a porcupine.
Porcupine in that fucking Platinum Ford Explorer. Hell yeah, good thing I got the full insurance.
They didn't even fucking mark it, right?
Nope, they didn't even give a shit. They were like, oh, those porcupine quills? I was like, yeah. They're like, cool. So, anyways, that was funny. Anyways, all right, well, we're at like 50 minutes. You got anything more to say about the invasion of Normandy, D-Day in general?
No?
Mm-hmm. You know, I do just want to say that, you know, of course, the men who gave their lives on that day, they paved the way. If without their sacrifice, we may have never actually turned the tide in World War II. And I know it's one of those cliche things, but man, some people, a lot of different countries might be speaking German now if they wouldn't have fucking done that.
Including us.
Well, I don't know, maybe not us, but just because logistically we're
if we didn't prepare for World War II,
right.
We still had that standing army of 30,000.
Yeah.
I think so. We would have, we wouldn't be who. That was the turning point. That was the point where America became the monster that we are today.
True.
So yeah, if we didn't win World War II, we probably wouldn't be who we are.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We definitely wouldn't be who we are. So shout outs to all the homies who pour one out for the homies of D-Day. All right. When you're pouring one out for your other homies, pour one out for them this June at the 80th anniversary, man. 80 years ago. This turning point in history happened. And it's just nice to go back and look and appreciate the sacrifice that people we never knew and would never know made for the future generations.
Did you ever see that video of the guy who all it is just it just shows the bodies. Like a marker. Like, you know, it shows like a person.
Okay.
It's supposed to represent every person that died from every faction.
Oh, shit.
And it's like, it's fucking eye-opening, man.
Yeah.
I think it was Russia and then Germany were the ones that lost the most.
Well, Russia also killed a lot of their own people, too, so.
Don't retreat, because...
And technically, the Russian winter killed most of the German soldiers, I believe, so.
Yeah.
Dude, Enemy at the Gates is another fucking good World War II movie. I mean, even though it's a fictionalized version of
what happened,
the Nazis and the Russians fighting each other, a lot of that was legitimate of what happened and how it went down. So, anyways,
so you told me that what's his name, the main actor?
Jude Law.
Yeah, you told me that Jude Law fucked what's her name?
Rachel Weisz.
Yeah,
he fucked her in 1943 during fucking the invasion of
Russia.
Yeah, in Stalingrad. He fucked her. She just slightly pulled her pants down, and he fucked her in a room full of other dudes, basically. And that's how it went. That's how they showed it. And Ed Harris was also a great sniper in the German army.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that. Oh fuck, what's his name was also in it? Oh boy.
Oh yeah, he was. Dude, he gets killed when he runs and he jumps through that thing and he gets sniped right in the head, man. God, that was such a good movie, dude. They don't make movies like that anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's also see when the Russians would punish soldiers by making them run wire.
Yeah, and that was your punishment, was you had to run the wire because you'd probably get killed.
Yeah.
The fucking communication telephone wire. Damn, that's crazy. Anyways. All right, well, shit. Thank you guys for listening to us drone on about D-Day and various other World War II type things related to the European theater, and maybe not so much. But anyways, it's not likely that anybody you know is a surviving fucking individual from Normandy.
They were down to like our last 100 or some shit like that.
Well, I mean, they were at least 18 years old minimally, and it happened 80 years ago. So that would mean that they're 98 now if they're surviving. So I wonder how many. Are you Googling that right now? How many Normandy invasion survivors are
I'm
there?
just doing World War II veterans.
Oh, World War II veterans are probably just low in general. But
as of September 30th, 2023, there were more than 100,000 living World War II veterans, including about 6,000 women.
That's pretty good.
Out of that 100, 5,000 of those served in the Korean War or the Vietnam War.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we have a little bit more than 100,000, but they got to be pushing 100 now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, they were at least 18. If you were minimally 18 and that was 80 years ago, that means you're at minimum, you're 98 years old right now. So a lot of those guys are even probably older than that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, all right. Well, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Sounds great. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to listen to our other stuff, you can listen to us anywhere that podcasts are sold. We have, you go to GameRageMagazine.com where we have all of our multitudes of podcasts, our full menu, if you will, listed. You can also follow us on Instagram at Game Rage Magazine, and you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter/X, we're at Game Rage Mag. If you want to hear us on YouTube, because YouTube is like one of the number 2 or 3 like podcast listening apps on the planet, you can go to our channel at Game Rage Magazine on YouTube, and you can follow us there because most of our podcasts, any podcast I guess that's less than 2 hours, is on our YouTube channel. So that's the majority of our podcast. So you can hear pretty much everything we have there if you like listening through YouTube. Anyways, did you have anything else? That was it?
Nope.
All right, cool. Well, anyways, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.
That was the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. We're also on Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Also, our website, www.GameRageMagazine.com.